I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. So today is a lighter day. We have a couple mini stories and then a couple longer stories for you guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. For our first mini story today, a Georgia judge has announced that he will be releasing part of the report from a grand jury on Trump and the election interference inquiry going on in the state of Georgia this coming week. So stay tuned for more information on that. He said he's not going to be releasing the decision of the grand jury just yet, but a lot of important details are to be coming out. Stay tuned. And for our second mini story, U.S. citizens in Russia have been advised by the Justice Department to leave immediately. And those of us here in the States have been advised not to travel to Russia. There is apparently increased worry about wrongful imprisonment at the moment, and it's just not safe for U.S. citizens to be there, as they may be used as a bargaining chip in the ongoing geopolitical battle that is happening. And for our first longer story today, I do have to issue a content warning. This story could be triggering for someone who struggles with claustrophobia. So an 85-year-old woman was pulled from the rubble in Turkey after 152 hours of being trapped. This woman has the stamina of someone half her age, I swear, and her bravery absolutely astounds me. Again, there was an 85-year-old woman trapped for 152 hours. It's like 6 days approximately. I literally don't know how someone physically lives that long being trapped in rubble. I'm not sure if people were able to get her food and water or whatnot, but it is absolutely terrifying to think about. And she was obviously rushed straight to the hospital after being freed to have her injuries assessed. When I saw this video, it absolutely brought tears to my eyes because this woman is obviously very elderly. And she was just trapped, kind of face down, hovering about halfway up a grown man's body. Like when he's standing next to her, she's hovering right there, again, face down. And when they were able to get her out, she did have her face she was able to face outward where she could see people and talk to people and everything, but the rest of her body was pretty immobile. She couldn't move any of it from the looks of it. It's just incredible. And these people that I'm watching them pull out of the rubble, they don't move right away when they get out. I'm sure their limbs are so sore from being crushed and being stiff. Imagine almost a week of not being able to move. I just don't even know what that would do to you psychologically. So terrifying. But there were even younger survivors pulled out after even longer periods of time. One woman was pulled out after 167 hours, and another woman was pulled out after 175 hours. Now, these were younger people, so it's not as crazy a story, but it's still, I can't even imagine how horrifying it would be to experience that. There was a father-daughter pair that was trapped for a similar period of time, but long story short, they are still rescuing people. And again, I don't know if these are people they're able to get food and water to, and that's how they've been able to survive. I'm just going based off the very few facts that are coming out. As of the time I'm recording this, I also wanted to update you guys that there are now 36,000 reported deaths from the massive earthquakes experienced by Turkey and Syria. And for our final story today, we have to discuss yet another high altitude flying object shot down, this time over Lake Huron. So this time we are traveling up to the Great Lakes. Since I reported yesterday that we had shot down 2 flying objects over the weekend, we actually shot down another one on Sunday afternoon that was flying over Lake Huron in Michigan. I literally finished recording yesterday's episode, picked up my phone, and saw a notification that we had shot down this other one. I was like, okay, well, I know what we're talking about tomorrow. President Biden followed the advice of military leaders and shot this object down immediately as well. The device was traveling at about 20,000 feet, and they said that this one was in an octagonal structure, whatever that means. It has been confirmed, though, by Senator Chuck Schumer that the second 2 were indeed balloons, albeit smaller than the first one. We don't have much more info beyond that. So the latest one was an octagonal structure. The other 2 that were shot down over the weekend were also confirmed to be balloons. That said, China has made a pretty fascinating reaction to all of this. They kind of turned the finger around. China is now claiming that the U.S. has flown 10 balloons into their airspace without their permission. Sound familiar? Now, the U.S. denies that they have ever conducted such an operation, and it's very convenient that after denying that the balloon was even sent from their government, they choose to now claim that the U.S. had been spying on them with balloons in some way. You know, it actually reminds me of stalking behavior that we see frequently, where a stalker will actually take out a restraining order against their victim, claiming that they are being stalked by the victim. It is a frustrating maneuver, but ultimately just confuses matters, if anything. Doesn't really change the facts. A representative from China said that the U.S. should, quote, first reflect on itself and change course rather than smear and instigate a confrontation, end quote. Woof. That is super creepy to me. And this quote almost seems to be taunting, in my opinion, like they're messing with us and enjoying it, because someone described this as China scrambling to make excuses. I don't think that's it at all. This was, I feel like, a very calculated effort sending these balloons, and they knew what they were going to say all along. Turning it on us really is just infuriating and frustrating, and I think that is the goal of these statements. So I don't know what their plan is with the balloons as a whole, but I feel like these comments are being made to frustrate us, and mission accomplished. That is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "Rest is a fine medicine." If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the news du jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.